Let's bring it back home now. A senior member of the coalition has told Sky News there are no plans to hold a referendum on national security. That's despite the opposition leader floating the idea of stripping terrorists of their citizenship. Live to political correspondent Cam Redden. Cam, Peter Dutton says he wants to have a discussion about this, but what's the coalition's actual position?
Well, Laura, much like where we landed on the issue of insurance divestiture, the coalition has seemingly landed somewhere in the middle. There's a commitment to consider, but not a commitment to act on this issue just yet. The proposal, first reported in the 9 newspapers today, suggests that the coalition's leadership team is warming to the idea of a referendum on national security that would seek to give ministers the power to strip those who are convicted of terror offences, for example, of their dual citizenship or their Australian side of their citizenship and then deport them. The power currently exists for judges through the courts, but it does not exist for ministers. And there was a suggestion this morning again on television by the opposition leader that he is warming to this idea. But Sky News has confirmed today that the current position of the coalition is not to hold a referendum, only to consider it as a case of last resort. I want to show you this statement provided by the Shadow Attorney-General Michaelia Cash to Sky News in the last few minutes, confirming the coalition's position on this. She says, "We have no plans to hold a referendum at this stage and would look to that option as a last resort. However, if it gets to the point where it is necessary to amend our constitution to keep Australians safe, then we believe it's a debate our country is mature enough to have." So a commitment to consider, not yet a commitment to act. That's despite the opposition leader spelling out the case, as he sees it this morning, that Australians may also be warming to this idea of needing to change the constitution and strengthen ministers' hands to keep the community safe.
We can do as much as we can by legislation, but as they say, you can't out-legislate the Constitution. What we're proposing here is a discussion about whether we've got adequate laws, whether the Constitution is restrictive, and if you want to keep your kids safe and we want to keep kids safe in our community, then I don't think you can put a price on that.
No price on keeping the community safe, says the opposition leader. Of course, it was the issue of price that the coalition for several years now has argued was one of the reasons the Voice referendum should not have gone ahead. The government contributed $364 million to that. The AEC, the Electoral Commission, estimated that the total cost may have been closer to $450 million. Peter Dutton, the opposition leader for several years now, believes that that process was a distraction for the government and also, in his view, a waste of money.
The government's wasted $450 million on the Voice. 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 $450 million on the Voice campaign, which divided our country.
But he is now suggesting that a referendum may need to be on the table on national security, Laura. Of course, the opposition leader previously suggested a referendum on Indigenous recognition after the Voice. That was walked back. And what we've just revealed to you, that right now, the coalition's position on this is to consider, but not to yet go ahead with a referendum on national security.